Lyre of the Lion by TheNightNinja2. Chapter 34. Origins of a Miracle. The crew of the Dawn Treader awoke the next morning to their captain and princess speaking to each other in low voices. It seemed important, and no one dare interrupt.
Mirabelle, I promise you that these burdens you feel are upon your shoulders. I shall carry them on mine as well, so you will never again have to bear their full weight alone. And as Narnia looks to you for hope and reassurance, know that you will always feel my arm around you, so that you may draw support from me. Know that when we return to Narnia, when the celebrations have died down, for both the return of their king and your own return, I will be right there, ready and waiting to call you my wife for the first time, said Drinian, taking her hands in his and staring into her eyes with a passion and love she never thought she'd find in anyone. Given the expected amount of time I foresee Narnia celebrating, when that time comes, Drinian, and you ask me, my answer will almost certainly be yes, said Mirabelle. He pulled her close in a warm embrace. When your family returns to their worlds, know that you will still have someone you can turn to. I will always be there to support and listen to you, said Drinian.
Louisa's 20th birthday was a massive celebration aboard the ship. She thought it even rivaled her own quinceanera. Even though there were no gifts, she danced until her feet ached and drank nearly as much as her sister, causing both girls to be very silly, and Drinian needing to dance with Mirabelle until she fell asleep to avoid her legendary destructive antics. Even Eustace danced with Louisa for a song. Night fell and dawn rose, and it was not until noon the day after where the majority of the crew retired to their hammocks. Days later, a new island came into view, and Mirabelle gasped at the sheer amount of old Narnian magic she could feel coming from it.
Should we have any reason to be wary of this island, dear sister?
Said Edmund. No warier than we are of Aslan himself. This island feels touched by him in a way, said Mirabelle. All but two of the crew and Lord Roop set ashore. The strength of ancient magic was all around them, and even though none of them were as in tune with it as Mirabelle, they could all somewhat feel the magic of the island. For Mirabelle, it was a sense of belonging and identity for her on this island, as though it held the true answers as to why she was, and what she was.
Mira, you're glowing gold!
Exclaimed Louisa. I am? Said Mirabelle before looking at her hands. You mean you aren't doing this on purpose? Asked Lucy. No. I think the magic of this place is calling to the magic in me. It's almost like the feeling of coming home after you've been away for so long. Like falling into your own bed after a very long journey, said Mirabelle. She walked ahead, as though drawn by a silent siren song deeper into the island and towards massive forms in the distance.
I doubt we have any reason to fear this island if Mirabelle is so comfortable, said Edmund.
When they came upon the great table with the three sleeping lords, most were hesitant to eat the food, fearing it had put the lords into their enchanted sleep. There is nothing to be afraid of other than the stone knife. It radiates ancient evil magic that I detest with all my being. Lucy ought to recognize it, said Mirabelle, glaring at the knife.
So the food is safe,
said Caspian. The lords brought their condition upon themselves. There is nothing magically remarkable about the food, other than a replenishing enchantment. I have never seen such a feast in all my life. Not even under Peter's rule, said Mirabelle.
How do you know all this? Asked Rince.
Must you always doubt me, Lord Rince? Countered Mirabelle.
If Her Majesty says the food is safe, then it is safe, said Reapy-Cheep.
Mirabelle took a seat at the great table, reminded of the great feasts of old, and began to fill her plate and Antonio's plate. Louisa wanted to follow her sister's lead, but was having a dilemma. Something the matter, sister? Asked Mirabelle.
I do not know what to try first. It all looks great, but I've never had some of these birds before, and do not know what to put on my plate, said Louisa.
Mirabelle laughed. I have never been adventurous enough to try peacock, but it has been many years since I have had roast venison, and I remember it fondly, said Mirabelle.
Oh yes, it was your favourite at every meal, No feast was without it in our time because of your fondness for it, said Edmund.
Mama, can I have pie instead of meat? Asked Antonio.
What is pie? Asked Louisa. Mirabel cut both of them a slice of berry pie.
As they all followed the princess's lead, filling their cups and plates, Louisa decided to be the bold one of the family and try peacock, finding it to be oddly reminiscent of chicken. While Mirabel had her plate full of venison, potatoes and salmon, Louisa had pie, peacock, geese, lobster and melon. Antonio's face was covered in purple as blueberry pie made its way to his mouth without the aid of a fork. When all had eaten their fill, there was quite a bit of food left, and though Mirabel had drunk quite a bit of wine, she was still as sober as she had been when they had awoken that morning. A door in the distance opened, and a tall girl carrying a light came toward them. "Travellers from Narnia, I hope you enjoyed your meal at Aslan's table," she said. "It was wonderful, but please tell us of the enchantment of the lords. I almost feel as though it is not magic in my power to break," said Mirabel. "These three were arguing fiercely with each other when they came to this island. One of them took the knife of stone with the intent to harm his compatriots," said the woman. Mirabel looked at the knife in question once more with disgust. How could any idiot want to even touch it?
"How do we break the spell?"
asked Edmund. "My father will tell you that," she said kindly. The man that came from the door emitted a silver glow similar to Mirabel's own golden glow. As the girl and her father sang, Mirabel almost wished to join in the song. The great birds that descended upon the table to finish off the feast came by the hundred, landing on everything and every one. When the birds had finished, the man turned to the party.
"I am Ramandu, a retired star. But I doubt any of you know me, for I was the star long before most of you entered Narnia. I say most because there is one of you whose very existence began on this very island, as a conversation between two friends,"
he said. Everyone turned to Mirabel. "Please, sir, explain how that is possible," said Mirabel.
"Over 1,000 years ago, Aslan himself came to this table with a dear friend of his from another world. The friend was a son of Adam, who had given his life to protect his family, and had granted them a gift to protect them and guide them, but its light was not bright enough to keep their eyes from closing. Not wanting his family to continue to suffer, he begged of his friend to help him grant another gift, one far brighter than any candle. Aslan roared, and the air of this world swirled together in the light of the morning sun, giving it the glow of a new day's hope, and the roar gave the magic the strength to endure great trials that would break most sons of Adam. Aslan instructed his friend to take the glowing ball of magic back to his world, and give it to one of his children to hold and nurture. But before the man left his world once more, he ensured that should his efforts fail again, the magic could find its way home once more," said Ramandu.
"So, what am I?" asked Mirabel.
"You are the embodiment of the magic of this world, the love of family and the light of hope. You are the daughter of magic and light," said Ramandu.
Mirabel smiled. As Ramandu continued to explain how to break the enchantment and the plans were made, Lord Roop was placed willingly into a dreamless sleep like the other three lords. Mirabel decided it was high time she have a talk with Antonio. "Tonito, when Aslan tells you and Louisa it is time to return to the Encanto, I need you to know that I will not be going back with you," said Mirabel. "Why?" asked Antonio. He looked like he wanted to cry. "Because I belong in Narnia, not the Encanto. Papa deserves the chance to be your mama, and even though I love you as my own, you still have time to see her as your mama. And maybe one day you'll be able to come back to Narnia, meet any siblings you might have by that point, or even nieces and nephews, if enough time has passed," said Mirabel. "But why can't you live in both worlds?" asked Antonio. "Because that's not how the laws of magic work," said Mirabel. But you are magic! Can't you change the law? Asked Antonio. Tears were beginning to fall and Mirabel expected a tantrum. Because a higher power governs me, and all of you. It is not Aslan's will for me to be able to go back and forth, at my leisure. It would be one world or the other from here on out for me. And I have chosen Narnia. The Encanto and Alma have hurt me deeper than any sword could have. And if I go back, there it may only hurt me more. I love you so much, Tonito. But you deserve to enjoy your magic room in a magic house, with 2 parents, an abuela, your tia and tios, and your primas. If you were to stay with me, here in Narnia, you would have to learn how to be a prince, with days full of tutors and edict lessons and no time to play with your animal friends. I wanted to learn as much as I could about being a princess and serving my people. That is who I was, and part of who I still am. That is not a life that would make you happy. Remember how soon after getting your gift, you wanted nothing to do with learning to read or write? All you wanted to do was play and talk to the animals. And even when you didn't have it, when I took away the magic, the animals still wanted to play with you, said Mirabel. Will you miss me? Asked Antonio. Every day, said Mirabel, hugging him. We aren't going back yet, right? Asked Antonio. I don't think so, said Mirabel. Good, said Antonio. Mirabel overheard Caspian tell Ramandu's daughter that he hoped to see her again when they returned to the island. Mirabel felt her own wedding would not be the only one in Narnia in the coming years. End of chapter. Hi guys, hope you enjoyed that one. Rather sad, but also very sweet. And I love that description of how the miracle happened. So Aslan and Pedro spoke because Pedro still wanted to protect his family when they weren't seeing the miracle for what it was. So Aslan made Mirabel out of a raw magic and sunlight and gave her magic, her spirit, to Pedro to give to Ulieta so that she would grow pregnant. I mean, oh my god, now that's an origin story. Anyway, you guys know the drill. Like, comment and subscribe and hit that bell to get notified whenever I upload a new video. Have a good day, night, or whatever time zone you're in. Bye my guys, gals and non-bino pals. I'll see you in another video. Take care.